Hi, welcome to Startup Out of the Box, a regular podcast about startups with Marco Silva and Vitor Domingos.
On this episode, we're going to discuss decision making. It's going to be a really important subject. And then also coaching juniors. So
Growing your team from scratch.
exactly. So two different topics from the ones that we discussed. This is going to be about our experience on these two main subjects. The first one is about decision making.
Yeah.
And
Let's start with you on that, Vitor.
good. I have a lot to talk about decision making. But bottom line,
I can see the white. Yeah.
oh yes. So, but bottom line, the decision making would be about what kind of the first thing that you do when you get to a company, when you're a CTO or you get to a company or you start a company. What kind of decisions do you need to do, right? So it's not about, you need to hire people, you need to do stuff. But the most important thing about those decisions is that they need to be data driven. You need to have data to have a proper decision, to think about whatever you're going to do. Like the saying, right? In God you trust, the others bring data. So data needs to be there, present in every single decision you do, either on market data, on product data, on hiring a team. You need to have data. You need to have those kind of either metrics as well. So you need to understand what kind of stuff do you need to bring. But it always evolves around data and the kind of information that you have so that you can make better decisions in the future. What do you think about that?
Yeah. We're going to talk about it in 2 points. But yeah, like if you can get the data, it's important that you understand what the problem is, what the decision is about, understand the context of that decision, and then search for the data like to help you make that decision. But there's going to be times, especially when you're starting or when you're hiring or if you're going to create a new product, sometimes there will be a time where gut feeling is usually a good point to it, a good decision metric, kind of. If it's kind of like the word for that.
Ever used the OKR, objective key results?
No.
Do you know what that is?
Yeah.
So bottom line is, instead of getting data and then trying to figure out what kind of metrics will you have afterwards, define the metric first. As you said, define the problem first, understand the problem is, and then get the right data to validate or not validate.
That metric you want to analyze.
Exactly. So the OKR means that you're going to set up a few metrics when it comes to identifying an issue or fixing something, and then you're going to try to address that problem. But you already know what's going to be the kind of when do you need to stop when you need to stop looking for more information because you already hit that kind of either target or metric. So imagine that, I have a problem. I'm gonna need data. I'm gonna need feedback from my teams to do something. That feedback usually comes with around data, but I'm gonna have a deadline. So whatever happens to that time, I'm gonna take advantage of that. After that, I'm gonna take a decision. So you define
that. You have that from, for example, Jeff Bezos on one of his stakeholder letters where he talks about how they do decisions inside Amazon and on his side, and he does mention a few of those topics. Some topics he says, that's fast decision making. They're usually small decisions, so a little piece of data, the teams can do it. It's like small impact, just get the decision done. And usually for bigger decisions, like once you get like 70% of the data, that you think it's okay, like make a decision based on that data. Don't wait for the 90% or 100% because you're just going to be losing time. And already around 70%. Based on his experience and on Amazon, like 70% you already have enough data to make a good decision out of it.
A good informed decision.
Yeah, but then of course you have like the other set of decisions, like I said in the beginning, like just follow your gut feeling because there's going to be data up to a point.
Yeah.
But then there's going to be the unknown, and after that you have to feel it. Just follow your gut feeling on that decision.
So bottom line, I just try to resume and summarize the topic is
understand what you want to decide.
Exactly. No, first of all, try to understand the problem. After you understand the problem, you define the key metrics that you need to find to either address this issue or move to another one. Just that, and then get the data that you require to make an informed and well-informed decision. So
And be careful with data bias.
Oh yes, yeah.
But that's like the one of
well,
the big
you coming from a company that works with data, you should know about this more than everyone, right?
Well, we just see everything is broken on the internet, so that's our bias. On cybersecurity, the world is broken.
Right. That's about decision making. So it revolves around data, understanding the problem, and have the key.
Actually, they have
key results.
The Amazon stakeholder letters are quite good on those topics.
Yeah.
And an interesting thing, just finishing the decision making thing. Team, yes, on topic. It's one of the things that Jeff Bezos mentions in Amazon is like he might not agree with the decision being made, but if that's a decision that's being done, then everyone commits on it.
Yeah.
Like, okay, it might not be unanimous, everyone might not agree on it, but okay, that's a decision we're going to take, then that's it. It's decided, everyone commits and to pursue that decision. It's not okay, X amount of people are going to do that decision, the other X are going to do something else. Like, no, that's what we're going to do. Everyone follows, commits to that.
Yeah, commitment. Yeah. Good. So, second theme would be about coaching juniors. Yeah. So, we have a lot to say, but my strategy is throw them to the wolves. And then the ones that survive, hire them. The other ones just ditch them. They're not, if they haven't survived the jungle or the wolves or whatever you throw at them, then just don't ditch them. That's my strategy. Obviously, you have your own. Right? Yeah, you have your own strategy to coaching juniors. I'm keen on listening about that.
We used to be juniors once.
I don't remember that. That was 20 years ago.
Yeah, for me it was like 15 years ago. So I had like two experiences as juniors. So one as during university, joining startups, and I had a good coach at that time that helped me understand a bit of the clients and technology, how things work. Really allowed me to be hands-on, direct contact with the client. So I had a bit of that experience. It's like, here's a cell phone, here's the laptop, now you're on call. Have fun talking to clients at 2:00 in the morning. Yeah. So I had a big sort of experience on that side. Yeah. And then I moved to my first consulting firm. Like I went to Big Four as again junior, and that was really like, no, now you properly sent to the wolves, and you're the lowest
rank.
You're the lowest rank possible. You're the lowest food chain thing. Yeah. When you go to a Big Four company, when you join, yes, you do junior, you do whatever.
Did you got any proper coaching from that working from a big company?
They give you like they give you like 2 weeks to like jump start. Like this is how we do presentations. This is how we write documents. And here we go. Let's go to a project. That's basically it. And that's where you get the proper coaching. Is like hands-on project making directly in with the client. It's not like, no, let's train some situations. No, it's like, welcome to the office. Okay, you had your how to do documents, how you do PowerPoints, how to do some conversations. Here's your first project. Now, tomorrow morning, 8 a.m., be at the client and let's start. Nowadays, I do things a bit differently. The last couple of years, I've been kind of the team lead responsibility, and from that comes also coaching juniors that join the team, join the organization. And nowadays, what I usually do is the first couple of days for the junior to understand what the company is, what the product is. Give them like, I'll send them like an email intro as they were a client of the company. Here's the portal, here's the access, here's the documentation. This is what we send a client. Now you're a client of the company for the next 2 days. Use our platform. Think about what's your experience. Do you understand the platform? So during those 2 or 3 days, they're asking us questions because the first time they're looking at it from the client perspective. So it's a good way for them to understand what we are doing. Yeah. So I think that's the first important thing for us. When you have someone new join the companies, let that person understand what the company is doing, what the product really is, how the clients use it. After that, it makes, in my opinion, the integration easier to the development cycle or whatever department that person is going to be joining in, because they already understand from the client perspective. So then it's just diving into doing a deep dive on the technical side. Yeah. And from there, that comes a different set of considerations. Teaching them like the best practices, what are the standards, how the team works, what the company expects. Of course, you give them some freedom. They will do some mistakes. That's everyone knows. Obviously, that. Accept that, and show them like it's and try to incentivize them to ask questions, because that's going to be important. Because if they don't ask questions, something is wrong in that picture.
Yeah.
Like if they're joining a company, if they don't know anything about it, like they should be asking questions.
Yeah.
So ask questions if you join a new company, and if you're a junior, just annoy the seniors.
Well, yeah, I get it. I'm right now in the position of the senior, so it's really sometimes it's really annoying. But
yeah,
just trying to summarize what you just said, and just looking at my notes, I think that we can put that into 4 different areas, right? The first one is how juniors can build real resilience, right? How can they bounce back from a bad presentation or a bad, I don't know, something that they got bad feedback from the customer, or not having enough information to present something. They build this resilience throughout work to overcome these kind of issues.
Yeah,
and then,
like on that example is, for example, if your company needs to go to conferences and stuff like that, try to push the juniors to do the presentations at the conference. For example, the last 2 years, I haven't done no presentation in conferences because I usually push the other team members to do them. Like it's exposure for them, it's training them, it's training English, it's training presentation skills. So it's a good way to also train your juniors, push them to do the presentations, just go to the background and help them on that process.
Which brings me then to the second subject, yes. So which is about how to influence others. So it's not just build resilience to overcome a bad result, but also how can throughout their kind of initial career actually influence customers. How do they can influence others in the same team or colleagues? Because that's really important. Because if you have a really interesting point of view, you need to commit to that, you need to transmit, you need to communicate to the rest of the wider team your opinion, and you need to convince them that you're right, and you need to kind of bring that kind of influence together. When you go to a conference, obviously you are doing that kind of influence with a wider audience outside of the company, but still you need to influence those that are keen on listening to you. The third one is how to do your own kind of job properly, right? So you need to understand, because you just said it, you give them the documentation, you put them in the kind of the customer point of view. They need to understand what kind of stuff the company sells, what kind of products they actually have. So they need to understand the nit and grit from the job, and that comes from documentation, talking to the team, and learning as well. So that's usually that's what companies do. They push all of here's the documentation, here's the processes, here's the workflows. Now go for it and try to understand what kind of stuff do we actually do. But they don't provide help with the other 2 topics. And the fourth one, the last one, is kind of break out of this kind of the mental pattern that you usually have, right? How often do you get from the companies of this is usually the way that we operate here or we work here from the past? Try to break that cycle with your own thoughts, with your own opinions, and push that also. Push your own kind of point of view, even that sometimes might be wrong. But if you come from the market, if you come from an external company, you have new ideas. Even a junior one has sometimes good ideas.
Once in a while, there might be a good idea.
Exactly. Once in a century or something like that, we might listen to a junior. So it's a different approach of just throwing them to the wolves or in the jungle. I think it's the proper way to do this. And it's pretty much resumes, I think, what you just said throughout this kind of the whole experience.
Yeah.
Good. Excellent.
It varies depending on the company and the industry. But I think that's the point. Like if you're getting new juniors in your team,
it's good.
Yeah.
Yes. So that was Startup Out of the Box, episode 23.
23.
It's already been too long. We still have the one to talk about books. It wasn't today, probably soon. And I'm not sure if the next one, we're going to discuss about Microsoft Decode. Are you going to be there?
Yep. That's next week or in 2 weeks?
No, 2 weeks time. So probably the next podcast will be in 2 weeks time. So thank you. Cheers. Bye.
Cheers. Have a good one.